I'm Bob Newton, and I welcome you to the new Pathfinder's channels on YouTube, Crowdcast, and Facebook. Pathfinders are an advanced global research team of independent researchers that originated from the grassroots and boots on the ground investigations on several continents. I'm a long way from Colorado, the Rocky Mountains, and the Four Corner states of the southwestern USA. Colorado in particular, because that's where my boots on the ground research into these realms of prehistoric times originated. Not only do I wish to introduce you to the new Pathfinder's channels, I'd like to introduce you to a couple things that I've named shadow art and maki-maki, because I feel they are two very interesting methods in leaving messages. Messages the ancients left us that are so big it makes me wonder if we're just too small to see them. Or is it because we just don't know how to read them? Or are we conditioned not to see them? Shadow art is a hidden indicator that the ancients were not only here, but remained in areas for many thousands of years, maybe millions. Shadow art not only reveals itself during a particular season, but the time of day also. Maki-maki means sculpted by hand in two languages, Quechua and Japanese. There'll be more on that later. To make a long story short, in 2008, I watched a documentary on Marcahuasi that's located on a high plateau east of Lima, Peru, at an altitude of 13,000 or 4,000 meters, where there are numerous mysterious stones that are sculpted with recognizable images resembling faces, animals, frogs, pharaohs, princesses, and more, all hidden within the stone forest of Marcahuasi. The documentary triggered memories from back in the 60s and 70s of times I'd spent in the Garden of the Gods, located in Colorado Springs, Colorado. I enjoyed hiking around the formations up and down the hillsides for the whole day sometimes. I thought I was imagining things for years because the images I saw in the formation were deemed natural by the Colorado Springs City Council of religious academics overseeing the garden. I spent the next 4 warm seasons, early spring to late autumn, between 2008, including the winter of 2012, returning once a month, sometimes every weekend. There were voices within the garden calling me to come back because she isn't and wasn't finished telling me her story, and the story it is. So I kept returning to the Garden of the Gods every chance that came my way. I went into places sane people wouldn't go, due to the groves of scrub oak, brambles, and rattlesnakes. No, I didn't see any rattlesnakes. Prior to my obsession with the Garden of the Gods, I'd been studying the history of the Ute Nation and various indigenous Native Americans of the western United States and Central America. When I added in what I suspected after doing my deeper research into the possibilities that the Ute myth, the migration myth, presented, it started me to believe that the habitation of North America went much further back in the timeline than imagined, much less accepted. I found it very intriguing that the Ute Nation doesn't have a migration myth, and the nation claims they've been there forever, a thought that has never left my thinking. What I found in the Garden of the Gods and what I'd seen in that documentary on Marcahuasi changed my worldview. There are some unexpected twists and turns in this rabbit hole, so be prepared. During my many extended stays in Peru, I visited the main archaeological sites in Cusco and the Sacred Valley many times, with the exception of Machu Picchu, which I've only visited once so far. That said, I've done the 10-day ticket, the traditional 10-day ticket, about 20 times over the years, all in the hopes of gathering a better understanding of the Inca Empire and the microcultures that built the mighty Inca Empire. Another goal was locating that defining line dividing the first world of the serpent and its transition into the second world of the puma that the Inca related to as their symbol for the rebirth of a new beginning. That's my take on it. The Inca identified the puma as the head of the image that's based off the layout of the original city of Cusco that Manco Capac and his tribe migrated into. I've been asked 100 times at the least if I'd been to Machu Picchu since I've been in Peru, and the look on some people's faces are quite amusing when I could tell them I hadn't. A few people have been bewildered and asked why I hadn't been there after spending over 6.5 years here in the Cusco region of Peru. So, okay, I'll tell you why. Because it's said Machu Picchu is and was the last city of the Inca, to be under construction and abandoned when the Spanish conquistadors arrived. There have been so many speculations made about the various construction techniques at the site, I figured I had to understand the other sites first before I went to see where the UFOs used to dock. I'll get back to that later. Please accept this invitation to join the Rogue Researcher on the Pathfinder's channels if you wish to take a journey to the center of the mind over the next coming years. So come along if you dare, and I dare you. Also, unashamedly, I'm going to plug my book I'll be releasing titled Pangaean Dynasty, The One Island World, as soon as I'm done editing the last chapter. And the book is for free. I hope you enjoyed the slideshow and video clips. So I'm going to be signing off for now, and thanks for tuning in to the Pathfinder's channel introduction, The Rogue Researcher, me, Bob Newton. Happy trails and be safe.